race by pointing to crowd noise, but Stephen A. brought up a difficult truth that she appeared to overlook. His response was so direct that Griner's reaction quickly spiraled, making the situation far more embarrassing than the original comments about racial undertones and fan behavior during WNBA games. In the end, Brittney Griner experienced what many viewed as one of the most uncomfortable public moments of her career. The exchange was so dramatic that many felt it deserved a highlight reel of its own. By bringing up her rescue from a Russian prison, Stephen A. Smith delivered a reality check that sent Griner into a complete emotional tailspin.
She says, right there, watch this. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. She says WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment. You are. The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either my performance or some light racism.
To understand why Griner reacted so strongly during a recent interview, it's important to look at how everything unfolded. Griner voiced frustration over the louder crowds and increased fan attention that Caitlin Clark has brought to the WNBA. She described seeing a father and daughter cheering from the stands and suggested their excitement could have been directed at her or connected to what she called light racism. That was the phrase Griner chose to describe the situation. Take a moment to consider that a professional athlete looked at enthusiastic basketball fans and concluded there might be racist motives behind their support. That kind of thinking was exactly what Stephen A. Smith refused to accept. If you're enjoying this story, be sure to subscribe for more powerful WNBA content every day.
Respectfully, Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this. Fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
When Stephen A. Smith heard Griner's comments, he didn't hold anything back. He reminded viewers that Griner had only recently returned from a Russian prison after a prisoner exchange that involved the release of Victor Bout, the arms dealer widely known as the Merchant of Death, who had been convicted of conspiring to kill Americans. The U.S. government traded a convicted terrorist to secure Griner's freedom, yet after returning home, her complaint centered on the noise coming from basketball crowds.
When you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out. For her.
Even many of Griner's supporters found it difficult to defend her position because it came across as ungrateful and completely tone-deaf. But instead of acknowledging Stephen Yes' point, Griner's reaction became even more extreme. The comparison Stephen A. made hit especially hard. Here was someone who had truly experienced oppression, lost her freedom, and faced serious consequences, yet she was now using that platform to criticize Americans for showing excitement at basketball games. Rather than showing appreciation for what she had been through and the opportunities she had been given, she doubled down on the victim narrative and lashed out at Stephen A. She appeared to have a very public meltdown simply because someone challenged her perspective, accusing him of not understanding her experience while dismissing his analysis as foolish.
This is insane. Let me read you the ticket prices. After Caitlin Clark's been hurt for 2 weeks. All right? So let's go through this. Caitlin Clark absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped.
The irony of
Griner argued that the loud crowds were making it harder for her to play, yet her own comments and the reaction that followed created far more attention and distraction than any fans ever could. In many ways, she became exactly what she was criticizing, a distraction that shifted the focus away from the game itself. That irony was impossible to ignore. While Stephen Yes' reference to her rescue from a Russian prison was the sharpest part of his response, he also argued that her comments reflected a basic misunderstanding of what professional sports are all about. Fans don't buy tickets to sit in silence and clap politely. They come to celebrate, react to big moments, and bring energy to the arena. By treating passionate fans as a problem instead of embracing that atmosphere, Griner appeared disconnected from the reality of professional sports. In nearly every major sport, athletes feed off the crowd's energy to raise their level of play. Her reaction also raised questions about whether several WNBA players were truly prepared for the level of attention the league has received over the past 25 years. For years, many players competed in an environment with limited accountability, little public criticism, and relatively low expectations. The racial element of Griner's original remarks was especially concerning because it assumed the worst about ordinary fan behavior. Caitlin Clark's arrival brought greater attention, tougher scrutiny, and much higher expectations, and it was clear that some players struggled to adjust to that change. Suggesting that a father and daughter cheering during a game could be motivated by racism reflected a mindset that looked for problems instead of recognizing that fans might simply be excited about basketball. Griner's decision to describe the crowd's reaction as light racism was exactly the type of careless language that Stephen A. Smith has challenged throughout his career. He also stressed that making accusations of racism without evidence or proper context can weaken the impact of addressing real racial issues while creating unnecessary division. Rather than reflecting on the criticism, Griner responded by attacking the messenger and portraying herself as the victim through a series of defensive social media posts, reinforcing many of the concerns people had raised about her mindset and approach to professional sports. What made the situation even more embarrassing was that Griner's public meltdown happened while the WNBA was experiencing record growth in both popularity and revenue, driven largely by Caitlin Clark's impact. Instead of embracing the opportunities that came with the league's increased attention, Griner continued complaining, despite Stephen Yes' reminder of the prisoner exchange that helped secure her freedom, an event that has taken place during a period when WNBA players are earning more money than ever before. The point Stephen A. raised carried significant weight because it highlighted the striking contrast between Griner's experience in a Russian prison and her current complaints about American basketball crowds. Anyone who truly understood what she had gone through might be expected to appreciate every moment of freedom. Her inability to show gratitude for returning home and resuming her professional career came across to many as deeply entitled. The U.S. government negotiated with terrorists to bring her back, yet she chose to focus on the noise level at basketball games, a response that many viewed as disconnected from reality. Her reaction also suggested that she struggled to accept legitimate criticism. Rather than attacking her personally or making unfair claims, Stephen A. challenged her comments with logical arguments and objective facts about her situation. Griner answered the criticism with anger and defensiveness, and the reaction only damaged her reputation further when compared with other professional athletes. Very few athletes across major sports complain about crowd noise the way Griner did, making her remarks appear even more disconnected from the reality of professional competition. The situation became even more difficult for her because Stephen A. was far from the only person raising concerns. He pointed out that players in the NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL regularly compete in hostile arenas filled with loud, passionate fans, and dealing with that atmosphere